Hi there. Welcome back again to the Ivory Tower Collections. I do have a quick short video today, and this is brought about because there was a recent post on a forums website I visit known as vogons.org. The post was talking about pictures or talking about your rarest computer games. And it got me to thinking a little bit. Now, technically, I don't have any really super rare computer games, but I do have a fairly decent sized computer game collection that I've had since the late 80s, honestly. But there were a few things I wanted to show and talk about, and some people had wanted some additional information, so the purpose of this video is for that. So here we go. Let's start with stuff from, and it is this game right here. It is the game Seawolf. SN21 Seawolf, actually, and I apologize, it doesn't look like it's all going to fit in the frame there. But what's important about this is the fact that it is actually signed, and I don't know how well that's going to come up here or be seen, but it is actually signed by George Sanger, who did the music in the game. And George actually attended my OKGE convention back in 2004, and that was where I had gotten this signature. Additionally, he had brought a buddy of his along with him by the name of Kevin Phelan, as I recall. I believe that was his last name. And Kevin also signed my copy of Seawolf here as well. So again, not sure how well that will show up, but yeah. So yeah, kind of cool. Very cool, actually. Another game I have with George's signature is one of my favorite adventure games from back in the 80s, or not in the 80s, but in the early 90s, and it is the game Loom from LucasArts. And yeah, this is the CD talking version of the game. Interesting that it's got, talks about the software toolworks and such down here. I've never quite understood what that was about, but yeah, this is the CD-ROM version of the game, and it also is signed by George Sanger as well. Yeah, so very cool. Now, this gets into some more rather obscure stuff. So in the early 90s, around 90, 91, 92 especially, Sierra's started to make enhanced versions of some of their original games, their adventure games from the mid and later 80s. And one of the first ones that I got the enhanced version of, I actually ordered it directly from Sierra, and it is this. It is King's Quest I, Quest for the Crown. Now, the reason why I show this one is because the box design here, I don't run across this too often. I'm not sure if this box style was actually sold in stores. It may have been, but if it was for a pretty short amount of time. But what's cool about this is that all of the text on this is reliefed. It's actually raised relief, including the feather design here. And it's also the same way with the title along the spine and with the crown at the top. It's kind of cool. So yeah, this is one of the first games that I purchased the enhanced version of. And what's really interesting about this, now unfortunately, the diskettes are misplaced. Yeah, I have an idea of where they're at, but they're not in the box. But I still have my original sales invoice from when I purchased this directly from Sierra. Important note here is that I actually purchased this in February of 1991, and they shipped it out on Valentine's Day of 1991. But yeah, King's Quest I, 3.5, Microsoft, UG for upgrade. But yeah, you don't run across this particular box style of the game too often with the raised lettering on it. So very cool, one of my favorites there. This other one was also purchased directly from Sierra way back when. And it's no mystery. I mean, it's the game Space Quest 1. But this is also an upgrade version, and it's the only one I have seen like this. So if you're familiar with the game at all, this is basically the original style box that the original AGI version or 16 color version of the game came in. I purchased the 256 color upgrade version very recent when it was released, originally back in late 91. And for reasons that I have yet to understand, Sierra sent me my VGA version in this box and replaced it with the VGA specification sticker. They just wrapped it around the box, as you can see here, around the original labeling that would have been in place to talk about the old AGI version requirements. But same thing with this. I purchased it. This one I do still have the diskettes for. There's 4 game diskettes and a startup disk. I don't recall if I ever actually needed the startup disk. And in case anyone's curious, it says MS-DOS version 2.0 on the diskette. And it does state 256 color. And then according to this, the interpreter version is 8.20.91, which I think correlates to the date that it might have been printed. Not sure. So yeah, but just like my King's Quest, I have the original sales invoice from Sierra. So yeah, Space Quest 1 256 color, 3-inch upgrade MS-DOS. Again, it doesn't list the price, but I seem to recall that I was able to get the upgraded versions or request these upgraded versions for fairly inexpensive. But yeah, it's the only time I've ever seen the VGA version of the game presented in the original AGI style 16 color box with just a new sticker placed over it. I don't know if this is because I got it when it was first announced. I know I was really quick on board as soon as I saw that this was available to order this. But or if they just ran out of the other boxes and this was what they had on hand. I've never understood. But yes, I got this directly from Sierra as it is. So very cool. Now this last one isn't so much rare because you can get this all over the place. It's also huge. It's probably one of my largest PC game boxes I have. It is the game Star Siege, which came out in '99. Now what's interesting about this is I did not pay for this copy of Star Siege. That's right. I didn't pay for it. Why did I not have to pay for it? Well, I didn't have to pay for my copy of Star Siege because I was, in fact, a beta tester on the game in the late 90s. And I'm not sure how well that's going to come out on my camera. I apologize for the glare off of my overhead light there. But yes, this shows Tech Beta version 000.263. This is disc 2, the game disc. The installation disc is underneath this with a date of January 11th, 1999. Yes, and I'll be honest, I mean, there's nothing special about these. These are just CDRs. They were burned. We'll see, here's the second disc, the install and buddy disc actually right here. And it's on a TDK. So they just burned these on the CDRs, and then I'm not sure if they used like a laser printer of some sort, or not a laser printer, but like an inkjet printer to print the labeling on these. Never quite figured that out. But yes, these are my legit beta CDs of the game Star Siege before it was released to the public when I beta tested it. Probably the most critical, this was also the game I played the heck out of. I completely played the beta, both the online as well as the single player game extensively. And found a number of bugs related to the Sound Blaster card that I would have had at the time. But the most notable thing that I beta tested, and the reason why I was chosen, was because I had median grade or medium grade PC specifications at the time, which they designated was the most common that most of their client base was probably going to own. And more importantly is you may notice that it has the 3DFX Glide logo down here, but I wasn't able to test or take advantage of this because I was one of the few beta testers, may have been the only beta tester, who actually owned an NVIDIA Riva TNT board. And so the bulk of my beta testing on this was to check their direct 3D code and see how well the game ran and look for any graphic anomalies, things like that. I did find several issues, as I recall. But yes, I extensively tested this game for Dynamics and Sierra back in early '99. And once the game finally was released, one day, to my surprise, the actual full-blown copy of the game arrived at my doorstep. So, very cool. And I played the heck out of it. And this is still possible to play today, even on my Windows 10 machine. I was able to get the installer to go in pretty easily. So, kind of cool. Now, in addition to Star Siege, I also beta tested another Dynamics Sierra game. And these betas don't look nearly as impressive as the ones I have there for Star Siege. But I was also a beta tester for the game Cyberstorm 2. Now, I think specifically I just played the online. I think that was really the only part I was the beta on, was just the online stuff. But I have two different discs here as well. I have this one that says Cyberstorm Beta 4.9 of 98. So this actually predates my Star Siege beta testing. And I have another one here that says Cyberstorm 2, and I don't know if that's an FC3 or an FL3. I've never quite figured it out, but you can see that the handwriting on it is the same, and I'm honestly not sure whose handwriting it was from Dynamics back in the day that wrote that. But there it is. Now, the interesting thing about this, I am not able to play this beta anymore because it actually required a parallel hardware key that I had to have in my PC in order for the game to install and run, and it would check for the presence of that hardware key. And unfortunately, I have misplaced that many, many years ago now, which is unfortunate, but I still have the discs, so kind of cool. And then another one that I beta tested, and strictly just beta tested the online portion of this, but it's also one of my favorite games from the era. And it is Homeworld. Very first original Homeworld, which was also published by Sierra back in '99. Here is my multiplayer beta disc that was sent to me for testing the multiplayer version of Homeworld. And this was sent in July of 1999. It's the date on this. Now, this is actually a professionally pressed CD, like you would expect an actual game to arrive in. But yeah, so that's my beta of Homeworld. And I just keep it in the original box that it was. This is the actual sleeve that it was sent to me in, and I actually happen to keep that. I wish I'd kept that for all the others, but yeah. Anyway, like I said, short video today. That's really pretty much it. I mean, I've got some other games too that are pretty cool and interesting as far as my PC collection goes, but you know, nothing tremendously super rare, I guess you could say. Just a lot of fond, nostalgic memories I have with a lot of PC games that I played. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick peek at part of the Ivory Tower Collection's PC gaming collection and some of my more cool and interesting games that I have. So thanks for hanging out with me this afternoon, and I'll catch you guys next time.